Hi, this is David again, and I just got out of the pool. Oh, wait a minute, Dan, we don't have a pool. We have no pool. I was dreaming about coming out of a pool. Anyway, today I wanted to talk about Joseph Smith and the people who tarred and feathered him. Now, I wasn't back in those days, and I haven't seen anybody tarred and feathered. I've read a little bit about it. When you put hot tar on a person and then throw feathers on it, I think it sticks. I think that's the whole point of the ritual. Well, the Mormons claim persecution, persecution, persecution. The world hates them because they're the only true church. And Satan is in charge of all of that. Like he's got something better to do. It appears to me that the Mormons are screwing themselves more than Satan could. He can just sit on the sidelines and just watch and go, hey, they're stupid. They're just going to destroy themselves. I don't have to destroy them. Well, anyway, when the Mormons pulled the shenanigans that they did, Joesph was in charge. He was the chief shenanigan person. In Kirtland, Ohio, Joesph decided to start a bank because he had no money. He applied for a charter to have a bank, and they said, no, you don't have enough assets, your bank will fail. Well, he believed that Jesus was an anonymous donor, I guess. But Jesus closed his checkbook and said, I see this as a losing proposition. So Joesph printed up some monopoly money and handed it out, and he said, give me some good American money, and you guys use the monopoly money to trade with each other. Well, it looked good on paper, but pretty soon the monopoly money wasn't worth anything. And the members of the church went back to Joesph and said, hey, this ain't working. And Joesph said, wear your garments and have faith, while he was getting on a damn horse and riding out of Kirtland, Ohio as fast as he could. Well, some of the members of the church chased him, and his horse was fast. Joesph had the fastest horses in the United States to keep himself alive. Well, anyway, they went to, I forget, in seminary. They went from Kirtland, I think, to Ohio or Missouri. I forget. Anyway, he was in Liberty Jail in Missouri, and I had on one of my other tapes, there were 200 lawsuits against him in a lifetime, and I think it was 86 were criminal, and he was convicted in New York City of peeping with a peep stone. And he was convicted, and he was sent out of town on his horse, and they wanted it to go as fast as it could, and he had what they called leg bail, horse leg bail. Get the hell out of our county. So off he goes. Well, anyway, he started getting these ideas about marrying young girls. Well, everybody says that's a Mormon. Well, girls got married back then when they were 10. I go, no, they didn't. Well, at 14, they looked older. No, they didn't. The average marrying age in the 1800s was 21 to 23 for a girl. So Joesph decided that he had an angel with a flaming sword. Now, I don't know how you put a sword on fire. Maybe you just dip it in gasoline, light the son of a bitch, and start waving it at Joesph. And Joesph said the angel told him to go to the junior high and get as many 8th grade girls to marry as he could. Now, Emma didn't think much of the flaming sword idea. It's the greatest pickup line I've ever heard. I've never seen anyone in a bar, which I don't think I've ever been in a bar. Maybe I should do that sometime. Have an angel come in, or they're telling the story that an angel came in and commanded them to marry 14-year-olds. Well, the community, when the Mormons went in, they would say, this is the promised land, and the Lord has sent us here, and we are going to farm your farmland. And the members of the community goes, when pigs fly. So they told the Mormons, get the hell out of here. Nobody sent you. There's no flaming swords. and your damn prophet is trying to screw every young girl in town. Well, they decided on one of these young girls, I guess she had some brothers that were pissed. So they decided to have a tar and feather party, and they invited Joesph. He didn't want to go, but they dragged him out of his house. I think it was nighttime, and Emma's going, well, he probably deserves it. I don't know, I'm just making that part up. I don't think Emma said he probably deserves it. She thought that, but she never said it. Well, they had a doctor with them, a medical doctor. And the doctor had been, I don't know if he was hired or he was just pissed, and he was in the group. Well, he was going to cut Joseph's balls off. He was going to castrate him because they thought that would slow him down a little bit. I think it'd slow him down a lot for marrying young girls. Well, they tarred and they feathered him. And I don't know if the doctor thought it was malpractice or that he was going to get a suit, but he decided not to do it. Now, I'm sure the Mormons say that Jesus inspired him and that Moroni probably was standing at the side with a flaming sword from the Flaming Sword group. So I don't know why they didn't. You know, I really think the Mormon church would have been better off. From that point forward, I think it might have become a church rather than a cult. But the little general was in charge. Joesph, the big general, was in charge of the Nauvoo Legion. Well, they didn't do shit. In fact, they may not have even been invented because Nauvoo was down the road a little bit longer. So anyway, the Mormons say that he was tarred and he was feathered because he was a prophet. You know, I don't know how they spin this. I just don't know how they spin it, but they do. It's a cult. They can spin it any way that they want. So anyway, he came home, and I'm sure Emma said, "What the hell?" And he said, "Well, the HOA Association doesn't think much of me marrying 14-year-olds. And she said, "You know, I'm going to kind of agree with him." So he started picking the feathers out of the tar, and I guess, I don't know, putting something on the tar to get it off his body. Well, this is a faith-inspiring story to the Mormons because he picked it off all night, and then he gave a lecture the next, or a, I don't know, a speech, spiritual talk to the members of the church. Now, I don't know what was in that spiritual talk, but it might have had something to do with, don't piss off the neighbors in the HOA. This is what happens to you. Well, the tar and feathers weren't there, but I think he looked like he had chicken pox. I don't know. I wasn't there. But anyway, that was the punishment of the community for his shenanigans in that community. Well, they left shortly after that, and rather than marrying the girls in the community, he decided to marry the girls in the church because their fathers were under his thumb. And if he wanted Helen Mar Kimball, he wanted Brother Kimball's wife. And Brother Kimball goes, hey, don't take my wife. Take my daughter. Now, there's a father you can believe in. And she goes, Daddy. He said, get out of here. Go sleep with Joesph. He's going to put you into heaven. So anyway, he married a lot of women who were already married. Their husbands, most of them, were on missions. And he was choosing wives from 8th grade and from the community of Mormons so he wouldn't get tarred and feathered again. And to my knowledge, he never did until he got to heaven. And then at the gate, they threw tar and feathers on him. So get the hell out of here. So, you know, I don't think they believed he was a prophet either. But anyway, tar and feathering wasn't that popular even then. But for Joesph, they appeared to think that that was a just attention getter. Thanks.